喝采は僕のものだ。
A brutal, prideful man with a flair for the dramatic, KUJA is a genome, one of Terra's artificial humans, and something of an older brother to Zidane. He got close to Cream Braun about a year before the start of our adventure, drawing out her desire for power and instructing her on the production of black mages before inciting all-out war on the continent of Mist. These events were all part of the plan of Garland, KUJA's Terran master, to throw the world of Gaia into disarray. KUJA, however, secretly schemes to betray his master and to harness the power of the Eidolons for himself. Today, friends, we are talking about the man, the center stage, the actor, KUJA, the enemy of Final Fantasy IX. I'm Mark from the Crystal Chronicles. Welcome you to this Should You Pull SYP for KUJA LDBT. Now, I host, along with my friends Arolai, Kreese, and a cast of wonderful people, the Crystal Chronicles podcast, which is a weekly talk show devoted to Final Fantasy, City Opera Omnia. You can join us live on Twitch every Thursday, Central Standard Time, 8 p.m., where we just have a good time. It's like gathering around with your friends, talking about the game you love. We put that here on YouTube, on your favorite podcast apps, or you can watch it Twitch video on demand. We try to throw some other videos in there like this, just for our community. You can join our Discord, find all of the links to our social media on tccpodcast.com. tccpodcast.com. If you like this video and more like it, like, sub, ring the bell for notifications. But let's talk about why we're here. KUJA, should you pull? Now, warnings. There's going to be some spoilers, so if you don't want to be spoiled for FF9, just listen. You've already been spoiled a little bit, but listen, don't watch, because I'm going to share some cutscenes from some of my favorite cutscenes from Final Fantasy IX, which is one of my favorite Final Fantasy games. So let's get to Should You Pull?
What tortured screams shall grace our ears? It is a simple fact that I cannot be stopped. Soon you shall know eternal pain. Time for an exquisite interlude. I will take you to a world of dreams. This shall be my greatest performance. Bring the house down with your accursed flames. Impale them with boreal spears. Shine a spotlight upon this tenebrous earth. Sever the very flesh from their frames. Provide them with a watery stage. Let your decree be known. A dragon's wrath has no equal. You lot are more fit to be fools than fighters. It appears our victory was preordained. I must ask, was that to your liking? I was destined for greatness, not this!
KUJA comes back with his LD and BT, his limited weapon and his burst weapon, and a small rework. So let's talk about that rework. If you're not familiar with KUJA's kit, he has a stacking framed buff that allows him to do more damage and have more powerful attacks when it gets to full stacks. And he is a primarily damage dealing unit who does focus on holy damage. Now his rework does a little bit of extra boost to skill 1 Ring Holy, which gets an additional use, now does splash damage and inflicts all enemies with a new frame debuff, Melodies of Life. Melodies of Life gives opponents speed down and, more importantly, holy resist down, or what we consider holy imperil. Now that changes his kit, so now he is able to do imperil holy and do holy damage. Now he gets a new weapon, that's the bulk of his rework. He gets a new weapon, a limited weapon, that does, well, how to put this, a lot of damage. 7 HP dumps. Let me say that again. 7 HP dumps with bravery fund after every single dump, every single attack. KUJA is going to be a summon board farming god. He does a massive amount of damage. He only gets 3 uses of this attack, however. Now it gives him the unique buff Terrace Crystal for 12 turns. That is in a party attack max brave up and holy enchant. That gives, if you just have his LD, the party 36 turns of holy enchant. That's super important, especially in Lufania, where elemental enchant and imperil can be very, very helpful, or elemental damage can be very helpful. And it allows him also to start the fight with max stacks of his Soul Cleave. Remember, when you have Soul Cleave, his skill 1 and skill 2 become their plus variants, and because of his EX realization, they do not then revert back to their normal form. The original KUJA you built up and then it went back to 0, and so he was kind of a tempo character. You built up stacks and they went back to 0, built up stacks, then went back to 0. Now, once you get to full stacks, he stays there. That was with his EX realization. Because of his LD, if you get it fully limit broke, he stays consistent, so his damage is consistent. It also unlocks a Brave+++ and an HP+++, both of which are holy damage attacks. So now his skill 1, his HP+++, his Brave+++, his LD, and because he's holy enchanting, his skill 2, all doing holy damage. Super important to his kit moving forward. He gets a he gets a burst weapon that is tons of damage, along with a 5-turn party aura that does more brave damage and more overflow for the party. It's not the most remarkable thing, but it also gives him another use of his LD, upping that to 48 turns of party holy enchant. So that is important. Now, KUJA is doing a lot of damage. He's a damage-dealing unit, but he does provide the party with 60% attack aura, 20% max brave aura, 15% speed aura, and holy enchant. His Lufania armor is a unity armor, which then further benefits the party. So it's a pretty useful Lufania armor as a party enhancement or party support aura. So he is a damage dealer that also helps the party, and he does do imperil and enchant now in his kit, so he's a little bit more useful than he was, although I've always liked KUJA. I liked him in his original run. I used him in his EX realization run. He's one of my favorite enemies from the Final Fantasy series, and so I've always enjoyed his kit in DFFOO, and I think he's going to be continued to be useful. Now, the real nice thing about KUJA here in this era, especially if you have his LD, is he is going to tear through summon board. Now, summon board grinding, if you have your Mog Pass, just with your normal damage dealers, is a lot easier than it used to be. He is synergy for Bahamut, Ultimate Bahamut, which means he's a great synergy character, even without his LD, but with his LD, he's going to be able to just tear through these summons. It's going to make summoning board grinding so much easier. You switch that LD to the front page in your skill order, so you can just press it and spam it over and over and over again. He's going to carry whoever you need to get carried through. It's going to be a lot easier than it used to be. It's even going to be fine against Shiva and Brothers, those multi-boss LDs. Is that reason enough to pull? So the question remains, should you pull? Now, there's a lot of other damage dealing units. There's a lot of other party utility support units. But if you're looking for a holy enchanter, if you're looking for somebody who can do holy damage, if you're looking for a character who's going to do really good on summon board grinding, if that's something that you're interested in, if you're looking for a character that has a good mix of party support, utility, and damage, well, KUJA may be the person for you. Personally, he's a favorite, so I'm going to give him gems, and because Gladio is on his cycle, I'm going to be using gems on Gladio. I'll do a SYP for him as well. And so I'll have a couple opportunities to get his burst. I'm also interested in Gao and use tickets on Gao, so I'm going to hopefully be able to get his burst weapon, because his burst weapon is his transform. I didn't say that earlier, but the animation, it's really, really cool. Unfortunately, it doesn't stay in transform after the burst, but to be able to be in transform during the burst is pretty cool, and you see that on the cinematic here. So should you pull? Well, friends, I'm pulling. I think you can live without KUJA for sure, but you can live without any unit. You don't have to pull. You don't have to buy into the hype, even in the guy we're going to talk about next, which is Gladio. but everybody's useful. Everybody's good. But yeah, KUJA's going to make Summon Board, especially Ultimate Bahamut, a breeze. And so, hey, it's probably worth at least some tickets to try to get his LD if you already have his EX realization. But for me, I'm going to use gems because I do not want to miss out on this. And hey, hopefully between the few banners I'm pulling on, I'll get his LD. So until next time, this has been Mark for Should You Pull? Yes, I throw tickets and gems and a whole bunch of other stuff on this because, hey, I love KUJA and I think he's worth it for me. Thursday, we're going to talk more about all this stuff, give you a lot more information, and you can go tccpodcast.com, look all that, or just check on here on YouTube or on our Facebook or Twitter, or join our Discord. Get all the links there. We share them below, including all of our friends. So until next time, friends, goodbye.